As always, the intro denotes a very serious conversation. And welcome to Carnival of Randomness on Get Mad Radio and some other formats earlier. And Greg blew up again being a Spinal Tap drummer. Greg's a unique individual. Speaking about unique, I am very thrilled to say we have what I consider a very unique talent on this week. Seriously, and it's Sarah De Valliere.
Hello.
And I say that, too, because you stand out. There's something about your music where I can't describe it in a way. I just say, well, a lot of times I'll just say, well, I can't describe it. It's just good music. Go check it out.
Yeah, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing because it's good to not fit into a box, but it's very inconvenient to not be able to adequately describe how I sound. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, now, I may be wrong. I do zero research, but I think you're from Rhode Island?
I am from Rhode Island.
What was your journey to bring you to our sort of fair city?
Oh, well, it's a very long journey, but I'll try to condense it.
Follow that yellow brick road.
Okay, yeah. So the yellow brick road. So first I moved to Boston because I went to Berklee College of Music. So I was there for about 5 years. Actually, before that, I was in California for a couple of years. So I finished. Actually, I dropped out of high school. If you want to know the full truth, I dropped out of high school. I was traveling the country for a year, and then I kind of more officially lived in California for about a year. Then I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I lived there for about 5 years. Maybe it was a little less than that. And then I went to Chicago because I got married, and the guy I married was from Chicago, so I decided to move there temporarily. Turned out to be not so temporary, so I ended up living there for about 6.5 years. And then finally we're getting to the Rochester part. I basically there was a lot of reasons, but in short, I wanted to live in a place where there was like a strong music community, and at the same time like closer to other markets, as in like places to play, because I was touring a lot, and touring from Chicago is it's time expensive and expensive. So, I wanted to be in a place where there's just more music markets really close to each other, and a place that's more affordable. And I did a lot of research, and I happened to have a gig in Webster, New York, of all places. So I kind of was like, this seems like a good place, and I convinced my now ex-husband to move here to Rochester, New York. And then we got divorced. And now, to be honest, we're both kind of stuck here because we have kids. But it was a great decision because it was actually perfect. Like, my research paid off, and I'm very, very happy living here, and I do not plan to move.
I've always had the phenomenon where people will move, and I'll get, like, a friend moved to Atlanta. Okay, Atlanta. And I'll get like a message. Rob, you won't believe it. Like, you could go out almost every night. I don't know, after 2020, I don't want to talk about that. But you could go out almost every night if you wanted to see a show, and you could see something here.
Oh,
and
easily.
It's unbelievable when here that there's just really, and I used to live in Alexandria, D.C. and everything. Yeah. And there'd be like, okay, so-and-so's playing. Where are they playing? Oh, Albany. Stuff like that. Yeah. So it's amazing. People don't get this. It's like this weird little snow globe bubble of these different influences, talents, and everything. Yeah. I always had this dream, and a lot of things just don't happen. That one year, my friends and I, we wanted to rent like an RV and just travel the country.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that would have been really fun.
Yeah.
We just, sort of like financially and everything else, we really can.
Yeah, well, it was really, really fun, and I did it. It was mostly with a bunch of like 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. So it was very, very fun. It was mostly, we didn't really go around the whole country, but it was mostly the Southwest was a lot of the area that we kind of went around, like New Mexico, basically Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. I spent a lot of time kind of living. I lived out of a van is basically what I did. And it was awesome, and I still reminisce about it all the time.
One of those. That's one of my other regrets in life. I always wanted to just take a dart, throw it at a map, and go there.
Well, you should do it. Don't let it be a regret. Just do that.
I'm still looking to get that. As I keep saying on this show, people laugh at me. Then we have a blizzard. I keep saying I'm still looking for that used Goodyear blip on eBay. Mm-hmm. I'll be able to fly around. Yeah. But I have been to Europe a lot, at least. I mean, that's the thing. So I've seen more of Europe than my own country. Yeah. But a little bit, what are your observations about people as you go around the country? It's pretty much the same, different?
feel like I'm what people define as a highly sensitive person. So to be honest, I don't even need to interact with a single person. I instantly feel like this feels very different, which I know sounds very, it'll probably sound woo-woo to a lot of people. I'm not sure if in your audience you have woo-woo folks, but...
Oh, anybody who listens to this show...
It's a little woo-woo. Okay, so I'm not speaking an entirely different language, but yeah, so I definitely think there is absolutely, I mean, first of all, it's a huge country, and I think we forget that sometimes. And then also, like, I do think that geographical, like, differences, as in like being in a warm place versus a cold place, a mountainous place versus a desert, like I really do think that just has a huge impact on like the culture and the kind of like essence of the people and the way that they communicate. So yeah, every place I've been to, I definitely feel like people are different. Yeah.
I used to get a laugh when I lived in Alexandria, because DC and Alexandria, if we had like what we have outside today, they would close.
Oh, sure.
I'd be sitting there.
Yeah.
But there's a saying, it goes, in England, 200 miles is a long way. In America, 200 years is a long time. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
So how did you go all of a sudden decide this crazy life is what you wanted to lead? What hits you about music and everything?
Oh, that crazy life.
There's
so many levels of crazy.
That's what I think. When you want to go on this path, it has to be a little bit of this. Obviously, there's a creative muse that just says, no, you're going to do it, because it's not exactly...
Yeah, I would say it's not so much of a decision. It's not like a decision to do this life. It's more that I don't feel like I really have a choice, because it's if I were to give it up, I don't think I would be like a shell of a person, pretty much, you know. So yeah, I don't know that there's a choice. I think I'll be honest, there's been times when it gets really challenging, and it's more that I have to like, I'm questioning myself. How can I keep going? But like, I don't really have a choice, to be honest. But I think that in a lot of ways it's a blessing, because it offers me a lot of things that I don't think I would get if I didn't do this, in terms of like just sheer joy and collaborating with people and seeing, like, traveling and doing things that I couldn't do otherwise, you know?
Yeah, I actually was talking to a friend last year, and I was talking, because he tours a lot, and I was saying about how you enjoy, and I have a couple friends who've actually toured a lot, and they've all really liked it. One of my friends now is like, not as much, but he just looks at me and he goes, and I used to love to travel when I was younger. He goes, it beats a 9-to-5 job. You know, so
oh, easily. Yes, it definitely does beat a 9-to-5 job.
But I always a little pet peeve I have about art, film, music, is it's also your career. And I don't like when people, like, I have a friend who's an artist, it's like, well, draw me this. Well, I do commissions. No, you just don't know. She's doing it for free.
Yeah.
They just think it's like a free thing out there. I just never understood that it is also a calling.
Yeah.
And I've never gotten that. But how did you start, like, when was you, like, for you, for songwriting, now I do see a little bit of Paul Simon.
Oh, well, that's probably the highest compliment you could possibly give me, because he is, I'm trying to think, in case what I'm about to say is not exactly right. No, I think he is, at least as far as English speakers go, he's my favorite songwriter.
Oh, and I'll tell you why, though, too, because you're telling stories, and a lot of them come from the heart, it seems. That's like, for me, I could never get, like, theater music where some of this stuff you push yourself out there so much. But I happened to see the movie that broke up Simon and Garfunkel this week again.
Oh,
I watched Catch-22. That was the story, I guess, that's why they finally broke up. Because Paul was supposed to be in it originally, but there were so many characters they cut him out.
Oh.
And now Artie was in it, and usually what happened is Paul did the music, and then Artie came back. What happened was Paul got the music done a lot faster for Bridge on Troubled Water, and the film kept going and going.
Oh.
So they had the big split.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm watching the movie, and partly it's like the book's better, but you know, what can you do?
What's it called again?
Catch-22.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah.
Well, the book is better, but yeah, but I've ruined it though, because you'll be going, this is why the band was
No. That's I love Paul Simon. I think he's one of the absolute greatest songwriters, and he is my favorite, like, English speaking songwriter easily.
Now,
yeah.
What is, like, when you first started? How do you get your ideas and your process for writing songs? I'm fascinated fascinated by that, about how people, especially artsy people, if that's a word,
it's a word,
pick up just, I think you look at the world differently. It's like Van Gogh. They say he saw like in colors and stuff.
Yeah.
Or Mozart, who could just literally remember.
Yeah.
I love reading about people who are like way up here.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I don't think I'm like that.
No, but
I think I'm a little more of an average person, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. But yeah, I mean, you know, I get my ideas from a lot of different sources, and sometimes it just kind of like, I think, you know what I think a lot of it is just paying attention. I actually think that's pretty much, for me, a lot of my song ideas just come from like paying attention to daily life and taking even like really little things that people say and sort of expanding out as to like what that could mean, or like what's an interesting way to look at this. I think that probably what I do a lot of is making connections that are not necessarily obvious to a lot of people. That if there's anything that I do that maybe not everyone does, that might be what it is sort of, yeah, like even like little everyday life sort of things, I kind of will turn it on its head or make a connection to something else that's not necessarily like evident, but it creates sort of an interesting dynamic or like friction, you know.
Well, I always say too, one of the things I've really enjoyed about the music scene here, and I've been on it for a while, I always call one thing my class of 2012, because that's when I met like a lot of younger people. But just seeing your evolution, and like you've really evolved. Like,
Thank
it's
you.
just natural though, isn't it? You don't mean to, but it's just called life.
Yeah, that's I'm actually glad to hear that, because I think we've only known each other since maybe 2019.
But then something happened in 2020.
I know, yeah. Well, actually, 2020 was a very pivotal year, probably for everybody, but certainly for me as well.
We could talk about that for a minute, though, because I think
yeah.
people. I always made a joke about it in a way, because that's how I cope with everything. And I've had friends who are really big introverts, going, this is like the best time of my life. I wish it would never end.
Yeah.
But I always said, well, I'm going to be creative. I'm going to write a couple books. I'm going to do this. I was lucky if I did my laundry. And then I would talk to people, what are you doing? Well, I'm on my 4th album of material.
Yeah.
So how did that affect you then? Like you were saying, it's pivotal, as you said.
Yeah. Well, for me, so I have kids. So 2020, I think, was really rough for those of us with kids. And it was definitely rough for musicians, like for sure. And then on top of that, I think it was really rough for anybody who was in a challenging relationship, which I was in that as well. So for me, it was like the trifecta, because, you know, my kids were home all the time and I basically got divorced. And then, you know, like all the shows, I had some really, really great shows lined up that in March of 2020. And of course they got canceled. So, it forced me to reevaluate what is really important, what are my priorities. I also decided to like shift away from doing my own stuff for a little bit, and I joined an 80s band, and which was a good experience for me, because it allowed me to like take all the pressure off of my own creativity and my own like songs. And then, you know, it helped me sort of like, when I got back to it, reevaluate, how do I want to do this? Who do I want to do this with? And what really matters to me? And to be honest, my album, The Healing, which I put out in June of 2024, was really a result of all that like reflection. You know, it's an album I don't think I would have put out if 2020 didn't happen, because it's not like necessarily like a commercial album. It's not something that I did because I thought people would like it. I didn't care whether people would like it or not anymore. I just did it because I had to make something that was like fully for myself, you know? And I actually think that's what all of us artists should be doing in general. But I guess I needed 2020 to kick me in the ass. And am I allowed to swear? I'm sorry.
Oh yes, it's a podcast. Yay! You can. Some people actually radio show hosts are the worst, because they're like, we can't. It's like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You know, we just wanted, yeah. But it got, because I have like sort of an independent contractor business, and for a while that just got shut down really well, and things are going well. But I think as humans we adapt. And one thing I found out from a friend of mine, a good friend, like his parents are older, they really aged a lot, and the problem was they have the routines. Like they're involved in a lot of like community things, and when you can't do it,
Yeah.
Where I was more like sort of like on the fence because I was like, there's the two parts of me. There's the social butterfly and the introvert.
Yeah.
The introvert was going, yay! Let's continue on with
Yeah.
this. But I guess like as human beings, we have so much to adapt to. And I look back, I'll go read about the medieval times or like what's happening in other parts of the world and go, oh, I spoiled away.
Oh yeah, we're definitely spoiled
You know, so
in this nation and at this time.
Yes.
of
I was just
history.
reading about some of the things as a book, and my current book is about stories of resistance against extremism in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go, and we're complaining about this?
I know. I fully agree. I think there's not enough gratitude for.
I'm
what
in
we
Raw.
have.
I went to the Soviet Union. So I give they said, like, bring gum and stuff. So we're at a circus. I give a kid, like, a thing of juicy fruit gum. His parents are like, can you take a picture? This is gum.
Yeah.
Step on it walking out of the studio.
Yep.
The way this kid clutched his gum.
Oh yeah.
And I was coming back going, and I'm just complete. But then the next time I'm in traffic, he's like, like what happened to me during 20. I was supposed to go see Nick Cave in Philly. It's trivial, but it's trivial. But of course, it happens just the week of. So I'm talking to my friend. We're here. We're like, swine flu. This is nothing. Maybe not. Because I remember going to the library that Monday, and it was closed. And I go, oh, well, this is going to be fun. And so I didn't go to Philly or anything. Yeah. But when you think about the whole substance of things, what does it really matter? That's a good topic to talk about a little bit before getting more into your songwriting and your music. Is should I call them cover songs, non-original?
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I think there's a place for both.
Yeah, I totally agree.
My big issue is sometimes, like, for example, I'll have friends get a hold of me. Well, there's an Eagles cover band playing, and I'll go, cool. But, I always pick this out of my head. I don't use host as an example. There's guests. Mighty High and Dry is playing. Why don't you go see them? And they'll be, who? I go, and I go, what's their music? And again, I'll just say, I can't really describe what's really good. But I'll be willing. I could go see something I could play at home. I've heard 1,000 times. Why don't you? It's like the kid in the cereal commercial. You're going to lose an hour of your life. What else are you going to be doing? Come on, like I said with your show, I recently saw people come out. They never seen it. They really like it. Give it a chance.
Yeah, I think a lot about this topic of like the people, the people who just go see the cover bands and the people who are willing to go see original music, and basically, the division is pretty like there's a huge amount of people in the first group and a very tiny amount in the second group. And I think it just, like, unfortunately, I think a lot of people, they just sort of get to a point where they just want to hear what they're used to, what makes them feel comfortable. And I think that's sort of a pretty normal human attribute. I think that there's an age where, at a certain age when you're younger, you like, if anything, you want to hear something new. You want to hear something different. And then unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, once you hit, I don't know what the age is exactly, but maybe 40, 45, something like that.
42.6.
Sure, 42.6. I think you get to a point where you're just less and less willing to be open-minded.
I think it is. This is nothing to do with politics, okay? Mm-hmm. I think we get more personally conservative in our ways.
Yes,
not
exactly.
like I'm not talking the political
We're less
stuff,
willing to change
stuff with stuff we're used to.
Yeah.
And some people want to go out. They want to hear stuff that's familiar. Yeah. And more power to them. I always, one of the beauty of music to me, film, anything else, is there's always more. So always, like I started, like, again, I hate to call this, why did we bring up 2020? But I started listening to African music, world music. Yeah. Now I go into different things. When I'm listening to one thing, now I'm into old blues because of Sinners.
Yeah.
And there's always more out there. Then I'll have some people, like a really good friend of mine, I told her after all these years, I still don't get your film taste and music, the movie taste and music. Oh, you know why? Because I listen and watch the same 5 things all the time.
Yeah, I've always been, and it sounds like you are too, I'm a very curious person. And so even if something doesn't seem appealing to me, I'm like, if anything, I'm like, I need to see it at least once.
Yeah,
or I need to
listen
to it at least once.
And the only thing for me now, my big problem, especially more for, like, reasons like, issues going out a little bit, is getting a little older, going out, some places I've been to, the parking's miserable.
Yes.
And we can't, you just have to deal with it. It's got
especially in the wintertime.
Yes, in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I feel bad because I like to support music, but I'll go see friends play, and sometimes there's a couple openers.
Yeah.
And I used to always like to check them out. I just don't have the energy, though, to sit through like 3 or 4 hours. I feel, you know what I'll do? Sometimes I'll just buy a CD, though, and try to listen to it, because I just can't, by the time, it's like, okay, where'd you go? I was too tired to watch your show, dude. I've heard you before.
Yeah, I totally understand, and I think about all these things when I book my shows, like that is actually what I like about doing these sort of unusual types of venues, like I mean, it's not super unusual, but like a library, because then, okay, I could do a show on like a Sunday at 2 p.m. or whatever, like this sort of unconventional time, but it just, by the way, happens to be super convenient for a lot of people
I love
to go to a
shows
show at 2 p.m.
Like Little Shop of Horrors used to have shows. And I used to love them because there's like this secret, like little underground feel, or Small World Books, where you feel super special almost because you come in and it's like the good old underground scene.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it also just boils down to community. Like, I actually think that's a big reason why the cover bands do better than the original music. I think a lot of it is also just that there's a community already around that type of music or that band, whatever it is that they're covering, and people like to feel a part of a community, So I feel like that would be something, if I had the time and the resources, I feel like that would be a good thing to do, is to create more community and a feeling of community around original music. Because I think that's what people want, actually, more than anything else.
I think people want to be part of things, and I think the idea of like local music, I think there is a downside to it, depending on how some people are, how people are these days, that people, you're accessible a little bit. Like, if you really like your music, they can talk to you.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to talk to, like, my birthday girl that I share with Taylor Swift. We have the same birthday.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why a lot of people...
When's your birthday?
December 3rd. You should know this.
December 3rd?
13th.
13th.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Why should I know that?
No, it's Taylor Swift's birthday.
I don't know her birthday. I don't know.
That's why
Taylor
a lot of
Swift's
people
birthday.
ask me for selfies and autographs. I think I'm Taylor.
Oh, okay. That explains it.
Yes, it does. But that's what I mean, though. You go see a big show. I always still call it the War Memorial. I don't really care. You're not going to meet them or anything, but you can go talk to an artist, get to know them a little bit, and feel part of something.
Yeah, and I've always, that's probably one of the number one things I like about playing shows versus just recording albums, is I like talking to people after the show. I like talking to people even during the show when I have a chance to do some banter or share a story or try to interact with the audience. I really, really love that. And I also, those are the kinds of shows that I like to go to. So even, huge artists playing in arenas, I'll be honest, I'm just not into that.
I haven't gone. My last show, I can't even remember. I don't know if you even counted auditorium theater. It's not that big. Was Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
But I just really just go to the small shows.
Yeah.
Was Love and Cup my big show these days? I have to say that Hooch Nanny was really good. Hoot Nanny.
Oh, yeah. Oh, were you there?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Yeah. You went this year or last year?
Oh, I couldn't go this year, could I?
Oh, so you went last year.
Yeah.
It was December, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
You're getting the weirdness of the show.
You went in 2025. Yeah. Gotcha.
Because I don't think I don't think it's December yet, is it?
No. But we already have it booked, so it's happening.
No, that's what I like about you. Again, you play with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about a little bit, get well, Emily, because I saw you have the flu, but you played with
Emily Champion.
Yeah.
She has the flu.
Yeah.
Oh no, we were supposed to hang out today. Where'd you hear that?
Where do you think on the evil social?
Oh no.
I was going to say, well, bring her with you. Like, no, don't bring her with you. Yeah, but she's been on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I do play with a lot of different people. I really like expanding my network, and I like playing with different people. So actually, I'll just say the most recent thing I'm doing. In April, I have a show at Three Heads. It's a co-bill with Bellwether Breaks.
I know that.
And yeah, they're an awesome band. I'm really good friends with a couple of them. And so actually I brought a song that I haven't fully completed or done with my band, the Rhythm Well, I brought it to them actually just a few days ago, and they helped me like finish it, and we're gonna do it at Three Heads. And for me, it's like very exciting to just play with different people, because you'll just it doesn't matter what the song is. You can bring the same song to like 3 different groups, and you're just going to have like 3 different versions. And I really like that sort of collaboration.
I always say I was thinking about this driving here. We should have our own version of the Wrecking Crew in a way.
Yeah.
I always think all I can think of number 1 is Alex Cote.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
yes.
I can think of Alex Cote.
Yes, and I've worked with him a bunch. He's the drummer on The Healing, actually. Yeah.
But that's the way that's just great. Like, I also think when you open yourself up to working with other people, some people, I always say be confident, but don't be like, arrogant or, just touchy about stuff. Because some people might say to you, well, I like what you're doing, but maybe we could do it this way if you try it.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And but the other view I want to talk about, about cover songs, I also believe that you can write some good songs, but they're all out here, and we all want to try them. Mm-hmm. So what does it hurt, like sticking them in your set or putting them on albums and doing your own interpretations? I'm not a purist. I can't stand people who are like purists about that. It has to be original.
Yeah, no. I'm full. Actually, that I'm working on a new album right now, and there are covers on that album. I think for me, if the cover sounds exactly like another version, for me, I feel like it's a waste of time. So I only, if I'm going to record a cover, I'm definitely going to record a cover that I have reinterpreted one way or another, whether it's by the arrangement or even going so far as like changing the chord progression, maybe even changing some of the lyrics, obviously giving full credit to the original songwriter, but yeah.
Again, we're all like the same. It's like the old Bruce Lee mind connection on that one, because I said I could play the original at home. So I like to hear it. And I think there's a big difference, and I may be wrong, I often am, between a tribute band and a cover band who are doing cover versions.
Yes.
When you're a tribute band, they try to do like the sort of dress up a little bit. It's like a little bit of theater.
Yes.
People want to hear the song the way it's played.
Right.
And I know like a friend of mine who drummed for Lou Gramm, like he said, they don't want you to improvise. They want, when you're playing the Foreigner song, they want to hear the Foreigner song. They don't want to hear like Miles Davis drumming for a while.
And
but you can do, when you're doing cover or just doing a cover song on your album, or whatever, you could do what you want with it. You could play with it and everything else.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're doing on this album is we are definitely interpreting it in our own way. There is going to be improvisation and solos and all that other stuff. But yeah, to be honest, like going back to, me joining that 80s band, that was like the main reason I just could not stick around because for me, it's boring playing the same thing every single time. So I just can't. I mean, I did it. I'm glad I did it. It was fun. It was a good learning experience, but that is totally
not. That was
not
actually for me. I think I have like some creativity, and I first thing I got into is I was involved with an organization, and not be nice to them. They weren't bad to me, but it just was one of those things that didn't work out. But they had a podcast, and it was. I got to the point where it was just dull because it's the same thing, same monotonous, like what was on TV this week. Yeah. And I always go, this is what I always say to people if they say like, well, some music's bad. We all have our own taste. Okay, music's subjective. I could never get up there and put myself on the line like that. Try it first, okay? So I said, okay, I don't really like this. Well, if I like doing it, put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Try it, see how I do.
Yeah.
And that's how I get with that. But I have to say, too, I know it. I won't tell anybody, but talking about cover, I know your favorite Beatles song, and I was shouted it at you at Greece, but I didn't want to.
Yeah.
But that's a trick. When you go to a show, see if you can guess what it is.
Yeah. I mean, people never guess. Yeah. So for anybody who's like, what is he talking about? This is
that's
actually
every show people say that.
Yeah. So there's going to be on my new album, we're doing "In My Life" by the Beatles, but it's like it's quite different from the original in the groove and the feel. And whenever I do it for a new audience, I always say, like, if you can guess what the song is before I sing the first few words, you get a prize, which is just my recognition or acknowledgement that you figured it out. But and no one can ever guess. It's utterly impossible because it's like it almost sounds like it's in a minor tonality, even though the song is in a major tonality. But yeah, it's and then people are generally like, oh my God, that's as soon as I start to sing the first few words. Like,
I just can't do it. I cannot yell during it. I'm going to go, Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yeah, that'd be funny, actually.
Mr. Mustard.
To be honest,
I
wish you did that.
I just never do that during shows. The only time I ever spoke up.
You should though. You should though. I think that would be so funny if as we're playing, someone's like, "Meet Mr. Mustard."
My theater friends doing shows at MUCC Muck. One of the actors always picks on me during the show, and I don't like it. It's like, I am actually sort of shy if you don't know me. But let's work backwards a little bit because I want to make sure I get everything in. Now, how the healing? Tell the backstory about how this gets. This really, to me, I actually call this album, and I hope I'm not wrong. For me, I've been through a lot the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's just life. We go, and it was sort of therapeutic in a way. Yeah. Not the Dolphin song. The Dolphin song was depressing. I'm sorry. I'm just honest.
It is. No, it is. That one is
talking about
depressing.
Has got us to the river?
Yes. Well, it's supposed to be actually hopeful, but you're right. There's a pretty heavy depressing
well, if you ever watch Forrest Galante, he does this thing about extinct animals that may be around still over there. Yeah. So there's hope.
Yes. Well, the hope in that song is that this song, Goddess of the River, is about an extinct dolphin. But the through line of hope is that even though we lost this one species, we still have a chance to make things right for what still remains, So that's kind of the little bit of like, I don't know if it's really a silver lining, but whatever. It's kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel or something like that, that basically like, let's use what we've lost. Let's use our grief and our loss to have more resolve to do better in the future.
One of my weird analogies coming up, because I'm going to pick up a Harlan Ellison biography after this. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Now, the idea about that's very dark story, and I'm not going to get into it, but that the protagonist is not really a good person. Now, Harlan would say, no, it's an upbeat story. In a way, it's a positive story, because in the end, he makes a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So in that kind of way.
Yeah, and I think, so again, I made this album specifically thinking I don't care whether people want this type of album or not.
I think that's the best kind of album,
Yeah.
That's when Bowie blew it after Let's Dance, because he always would just do, I call it Bowie, but then he wanted, especially Never Let Me Down, which I've heard, like, Time Will Crawl now, like, the remix is better, but he was intentionally trying to do, like, a hit album.
Right, yeah, and this is almost like I was intentionally trying to just do the songs that I think if I talked to like a PR person or a music management type person, they would say, don't do this because people don't want to hear about grief, people don't want to hear about sadness. But I think that like there might be truth to that, but the people who want to hear it, they need to hear it. So I'm doing it for the people who need it.
And this is like sort of a half joke I use with friends of mine. Like, I like all your songs except for the happy ones because I believe life's sort of bittersweet. Life
is bittersweet. That's exactly true. And I think music should reflect life. So if most music is happy, then most music is not a reflection of life.
I'm just a strange person. I won't deny that. But I always say people who are smiling and happy all the time, I'm skeptical.
Oh, no. I agree. I totally agree. I don't think that's weird at all. I fully agree with that. People who act as though everything's great in their life and there's nothing wrong, they're hiding something.
And I think too, a lot of life for me, and like I just said, I've recounted some of the things that happened to me in the last 10 years or so. But I think we all go through, like, some people, they want the life that goes. No, life doesn't go like that.
Yeah.
It's like this and this.
He's making his, for the listeners, his hands are going up and down.
Thank you for being
It's not straight, it's up and down. And that's exactly true. I mean, even like people who think that life or success or whatever is like you start down here and then you like slowly go up, right? In like a straight line. That's like completely false. It's more of like a heart monitor, going up and down and up and down. And if you're lucky, it's going up and down on a upward trajectory, but it is up and down.
This is an interesting thing I found. I've been actually looking into homelessness a lot and the struggles people go through. And something like people who were addicts, went through personal drama, abuse and stuff, they say one of the biggest problems they end up having is the calm. Because what I call normal, everybody's normal is different. What's what they used to. But you get to a point where you're going through drama, you're trying to survive, and all of a sudden things are all right.
Yeah.
And you just...
And it feels wrong.
It just feels really... It's like, wait a second, this is kind of boring. Yeah. And that's the threat. And I don't think a lot of people get that.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally true. I think people get addicted to drama, and then they don't necessarily realize it, but they start creating their own drama because it's the only way to keep the drama going.
Yeah, if I've been in a relationship with people, I think we all have it. Really.
But the fact is, we don't need to create the drama. Like, so life will. We should just appreciate when things feel calm and things feel good, because life will absolutely find a way to, let the shit hit the fan once again at some point. Yeah.
But talk a little about some of the songs on here. One of the ones I really liked, and we're not going to play it, is this. Buy the album. You can get it from Sarah. Pour Over Me, which I really like.
Yeah, that's probably the hit song. I mean, I'm putting quotation marks because I'm not a hit artist, but that is definitely like the popular one on the album, like the most popular tune, and it has a music video and all that. Yeah, and that song is kind of actually the song that drove me towards creating this album. Because it's not like a super happy song. It's more mellow, and there's a twinge of sadness in it, but people really responded to it and really like that song.
As I say, you're a storyteller, and because you are, maybe you can explain. I think the most interesting title on just the title is, maybe you can guess it, Fishwife Advent.
Oh gosh, yeah.
How did that come about?
I did not come up with that title. I just want to say, so that song is the oldest song on the album. I wrote that when I was actually in college, which I don't even want to say how long ago that was, but I want to say that was about 15 years ago is when I wrote that song, and that was actually based off of some epic poetry from a friend of mine who's she's a relatively well-known poet. I say relative because there aren't really any poets that are well-known at this point. But within the poetry world, she's definitely well-known in the northeastern area, and her name is Jennifer Jean, and she had this beautiful collection of poetry called Fishwife Tales, and it's basically about Selkie folklore. If you don't know what that is, just do a little research and you'll find it.
Scottish-Irish, I forget now.
Yeah.
It's almost like sirens in a way, but
yes.
Scotland or Ireland, I forget.
I want to say Ireland, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that.
On our show here, we're not like facts.
Nope.
We're educating. You look it up yourself.
Yes. Don't let the facts get in the way of the truth. So, but it's basically, it talks about womanhood and motherhood, using this folklore as a way to explore different themes about motherhood and womanhood and being married, and like living in the world of a man, I guess, which is what the folklore is kind of about. So I wrote actually a lot of music, and we did a lot of this music as a special show called Fishwife Tales, and we did it at a bunch of poetry festivals, some big ones like the Massachusetts Poetry Festival. And that one particular tune, Fishwife Advent, people just really, really, really liked that one. So I decided to put it on this album because it really fit very well with the theme of the album.
That's the reason I always have to say, like, for artists like yourself, that I have really a lot of respect to, because it has to. I've talked to some friends who are actors too. One of my friends did a one-person show on Sylvia Plath, and I said, "How does it? Doing that, does it affect you and everything? You're putting yourself out there, and how does that, like, emotionally, does it affect you emotionally sometimes, some of these songs, where you just go, I'm really, like, this is, like, sort of, and I think every song, the beauty of music is that sometimes you'll be hearing something on the radio, well, that's about me. Well, I listen to classical, so I don't know.
Yeah.
but we all have those human emotions, but it's really sort of like vulnerability you're showing.
Yeah, well, I just think that that's what makes the best music anyway, is when you're being vulnerable. So even my, like, peppy, happy tunes, which are not on the Healing.
Yay! Sorry, it's me.
They're not on the Healing, they're on other albums, and they're on the new album, etc. But, like, even those ones, there should be, I think, some bit of vulnerability in it, because, again, it's kind of like otherwise, I don't know, what's the point? I think people respond to that really, really well, and I think that people do have a hard time being vulnerable, but if you are vulnerable, it allows them to feel like they can be more vulnerable. So I always try to write my songs from that perspective of, like, being vulnerable.
I think we go by that in life, too. It's like, the connotation, it's like sort of mature music in a way, because when you're growing up, like, for me, I've always said to people, if you want to read Ulysses, don't do it till you're like 30 or The Wasteland, because if you try reading it in your teens, you're going to be Ulysses took me 3 weeks anyways, but you're going through like something like The Wasteland where there's Sanskrit in it, and you're just not going to get the appreciation then.
Yeah.
But as you learn in life, like maybe as you're younger, you just want quick thrills or like those pop songs.
Yeah.
Or, Crew Dude, stuff like that. But as you grow up and you live, it gets deeper and you feel these. Yeah,
actually, that's really interesting because I think there's a lot of stuff that I watched or listened to as a kid or as a teenager or like even in, the college age. And I agree. Like, I think that what I captured from it was like sort of the surface level of what it was about. And a lot of that stuff, when I revisit it now, I'm like, whoa.
I did too. Like,
so much more to this than I even realized.
I had like an English SAT off the chart. I had like, talk about embarrassing for like, what kind of person I was in school for friends. They stuck me in my own reading group in third grade because I had over a college reading level.
Wow.
So, But imagine when at school, when the kid in the corner and everything, not fun or whatever. But some of the stuff I never really got till it's like watching even old cartoon shows, and you don't get all the, like, even Batman. Yeah. Oh, it's funny. But then you don't get all the other references and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that. So I think it's part of human growth and everything. But can you talk really briefly, too, about what's coming up for your new album? What do you have to look for? And this is still very... If you don't have this, get it.
And he's holding up the Healing as he says that, by the way.
I love this. I'm just so used to, like, I figure people are reading my mind.
No, well, you know what? I am a huge podcast listener. I listen to podcasts all the time, and I actually think it's really funny when people say things thinking that you're seeing it, and then there's somebody else who's like, by the way, this is what's happening.
One of my other guests did that, too. Only one guest, Tej, I don't know if you know Tej, but she did the vlog, and she wanted to record, and I go, look, I have a face for radio and a voice for silent movies, but I'll let you do it if you'll be on the show, okay?
That's funny. Yeah. Okay, so, all right, I already forgot what the question was. Oh, what's up with the new album? Yeah. Okay, well, the main thing with the new album is that it's going to be actually like a real collaboration between me and my band, The Rhythm Well. So it's not just going to be a Sarah De Valliere album. It's Sarah De Valliere and The Rhythm Well.
I'm sorry to interrupt a little. You just mentioned who they are, too, also.
Yeah, and The Rhythm Well is Mark Ballastra on guitar, Brad Johnson on bass, and Emmett Yantolucci on the drums. And then there are going to be a few other kind of extended band members. So Bill Tiberio is going to be featured on the album. Also, Will Shantz is going to be featured on the album. Bill Tiberio, in case anyone doesn't know, phenomenal sax player. He has his own band and his own music as well. I think everyone knows him. And then Will Shantz, phenomenal guitarist. He's more of like an acoustic finger-picking style type player. He does a lot of different things, but he's going to kind of bring that flavor to a few of the songs as well. So, yeah.
How do you pick your covers then for that? Like, just for you? Do you ask some of the people you're playing with, too? Or you just go, I really want to tackle this thing?
That's a really good question. So, okay, we're doing a Fiona Apple tune, and we're doing a Beatles tune. We're doing a John Prine tune. There might be a fourth one that I'm forgetting. But anyway, honestly, it's different in every case. Sometimes it's just, I really like the tune and I just sort of as I'm playing it, I just start to kind of be like, how can I reconfigure this just out of, pure joy and fun, the fun of it. And if it really feels like, oh, this is like really cool, then I just naturally want to start doing it with the band.
It's interesting you say that, but we'll talk about cover tunes. It's one of my all-time favorite cover tunes, Fiona Apple, Across the Universe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a good one.
And I think she's so underrated.
Oh my God, she's amazing, and she keeps coming out with. She had a big pause, but I think it was her last album, unless there's another one since. Fetch the Bolt Cutters, I believe is the name of the album. But again, don't worry about the facts.
No, that's right. That's a podcast, not a news show.
But this album, like, she took such a long pause, but I heard the album and I was like, God damn, this woman she just keeps writing great music. Like, every single album is so good. Every single song is so good. She really is, I think, I agree, one of the most underrated artists, for sure.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, like with Dylan or something, they still keep doing new material.
Yeah.
Which I like. And I thought my Rowdy Rowdy Waves is actually really good, too. It's not like, we all love the past stuff, but keep moving forward, see where things go.
Well, the thing is, too, like, I think a lot of artists that keep putting out albums, unfortunately, and I might get some flack for saying this, but I think a lot of them they can't produce what they did produce at one point. Like, it gets a little stale.
We all get to that.
But there are some people who everything they do they keep doing it. And Fiona Apple, I think, is one of those people.
I won't name anybody, but we all know their bands. You have the first 3 albums, pretty much.
Yeah.
Even the first album, it's like basically doing remakes.
Yeah.
And then other albums, everything sounds different because they're really, it's a business. And some people have a formula, they know what works.
Yep.
What's the old joke about AC/DC? I think they asked Angus Young, what's wrong with you? You've done 12 albums, they all sound the same. No, you're wrong. We've done 13. They all sound the same.
Yeah.
And it's all good out there. Whatever you like, you like. But I want to ask you a little bit as you progress, you look back at some of your older stuff, how do you feel about it? Like some of the older albums?
So mixed reviews.
Well, that's how you start, though.
Yeah, so the last album I put out before The Healing is Dreams on Hold, and that one I love it. I think it's a great album. I love how it's produced. And then everything before that, I think, has really good songs, but the production... So I've always been my own producer, and it's a learning experience. So if you were to start from the very, very first album and then go all the way through to The Healing, like, there's a very clear progression. I think that Dreams on Hold is where I really, hit my stride as a producer, figuring out, getting the right kinds of musicians, directing them in the right kind of way, working with an engineer who knows how to work with a producer, because sometimes, it's like the producer is the engineer. But in my case, I can speak a lot of engineering language, but I am not the engineer. So I think that Dreams on Hold is where I really hit my stride. So everything before that, production-wise, not super happy about, but I think that the songwriting is good. And to be honest, there's probably a few songs in those older albums that I would likely bring forward into a future album.
Are all these sort of like The Healing, where they sort of reflect where you were in life at the time? Or
yeah, and that's
all you got to do is keep living, and you'll never run out of material.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely been a progression, and it's hard to I think that my quality as a songwriter has definitely gotten better, but it's hard to look at those older songs and think this isn't good, because it's just who I was, and who I was just fine, because now look at who I am now. I can't be who I am now if I don't respect who I was then. I look at myself like that, too,
where I look at a lot of things I went through and I go, I wish I could not known this person, but would I be me now? See, that's the question.
No, exactly.
People, but I think there's this about in terms of talking about music and cliches and the original. Tom Petty was doing a song, and he really liked it, but all he thought of was "You Rocked Me." He didn't want to do it because, come on, how many? Yeah, you rocked me. Yeah. And I guess Mike Campbell said "You wrecked me," just a little phrase changed the song.
Yeah.
So it could be like that. That's one thing I go back, having a brother who was in a band in the 70s and 80s, that I always used to say, and I hate the term, that it used to sound local, but now it sounds a lot better. And that's not a derogatory term. It's just technology.
Yeah.
And and a lot of people don't realize the importance of production. You go back
my
to a lot
gosh,
of bands.
yeah.
No, a lot of bands is the old joke about Hal Blaine. Somebody goes, I never realized Hal Blaine was like the 5 of my favorite drummers. And a lot of it's like in the studio.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure this has been really fun.
I'm having a lot of fun, too.
You know, I have to make you co-host since Greg blew up.
I'm okay with that. I don't mind being a co-host.
Greg, somebody's stealing your songs.
I think I'm great on the radio.
But now we have our big show on Get Mad, but we also have our little cult shows now. So you can talk about, you're actually playing with Greg, with Brian Lindsay coming up this month. Now, anybody listening on Get Mad, this has already happened, but go back in time if you haven't seen it, watch it anyways.
Yeah,
but
well.
And then what else is coming up for you?
Well, so I'll say that Thursday, February 26th, we're doing a show. The Rhythm Well and I are doing a show at Iron Smoke, and it's a co-bill with the Brian Lindsay Band, and we're super, super excited about it. And then as far as after that, we have quite a bit, but I'll just call out a couple of the good ones.
Why don't you say like what they can just find you like on site? You have
oh,
site.
Sure.
That's easier for them.
Yeah, for sure. So the easiest way to find me is sdvmusic.com. That's like the easiest to type in. SDV as in Sarah De Valliere. So sdvmusic.com. I'm obviously on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. You just have to search my name, and my name's a little challenging, so that can be hard sometimes.
You know what? And I used to say this to every person. I have to do it myself. It's not being full of yourself. There's so much you have to promote.
Absolutely.
But we're going to play a very interesting song called St. Anne.
Yeah.
Which I'm very thrilled about. I was actually reading about St. Olga recently. She's badass.
Yeah? St. Olga?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of her. I'll have to check her out.
But, okay, well, you know what? We'll just keep the song a secret. They can figure it out and interpret it.
Yeah, well, I'll just say it's not a religious song. You would think by the name St. Anne that it is, but it's actually more about it's about Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay, and the title for me, anything that sounds like that sounds like a Leonard Cohen song to me. Sorry. But thanks a lot, Sarah. This has been a lot of fun.
I've had so much fun, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool.
Pointing toward the heavens with an unfinished hand, the gesture of a mother speaks of knowing heaven's plan. Saint Anne, Saint Anne, smiling at your daughter, only you can understand how her love is like no other for her son, the Son of Man. Saint Anne, Saint Anne, sketched in black and white, details drawn in chalk and charcoal, hazy shadows into light from the brilliant mind of Leonardo. The mystery and the madness, a joy to mask the sadness. Saint Anne, Saint Anne. Incomplete perfection